Well, good afternoon and welcome to Positively Texas. I'm Jody Dean.
And I'm Brenda Jackson. Hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday afternoon. On today's show, fashions for your kids, fashions for you, and how to fashion your skin for a younger you.
Indeed, and you got to see these kids. They're real cute. Now, tomorrow marks the first anniversary of the deadliest school shooting in U.S. history. The nation, of course, watched in horror as Columbine High School near Denver was held hostage by two student gunmen.
The shooting rampage on April 20th left 15 people dead and devastated the town of Littleton, Colorado. Susan Jeske is a native of Littleton and the current Miss America, and she's bringing her campaign to students across the country, talking about stopping the violence. So good to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Susan, what is it that you're telling students? I understand that first you were crowned Miss America, then the shooting happened at Littleton, and that catapulted you into a new position altogether, a new campaign.
My family is from Littleton, Colorado, and we knew some of the victims. We knew Casey Bernal, and she was the one that when the killer walked up to her and asked her if she believed in God, then they shot her. But I would have to say that a lot of people really band together, and Littleton, Colorado is still a great place. It's a wonderful place to grow up, and it's the last place on earth a violent act like Columbine could possibly happen. But that's my message. If it could happen in my hometown of Littleton, Colorado, then it could happen anywhere. Trust me.
What was the sentiment of children in the high schools that you visited after this Littleton shooting happened?
Well, a lot of students are concerned about the issue, and a lot of students don't think that it will happen in their high school or that it couldn't. So what I do is we actually have 12 students and one teacher. They're volunteers, and they come up on stage, and I say, pretend it didn't happen at Columbine High School, but it happened in your high school, and these were the 12 students and the one teacher that were violently murdered. If it really, truly happened in your high school, how would you feel about it? And then we get to know the students, and I tell them that you students are the ones who have the power to make your school and ultimately your community violent-free, and then each high school comes up with their own pledge, such as I pledge I will eliminate taunting from my own behavior, I pledge I will, whatever's going on in the high school.
But you can't eliminate everything. The Time magazine does have a column, I think, in this month's issue, or this week's issue, about can you spot a violent kid? You know, you've talked to a lot of people. Can we?
I think it all comes down to personal responsibility, and that everybody's responsible for their own actions. And obviously, I think that there's signs and signals that people do know, and I think education is really a big answer. On a scale of 1 to 10, when you're at a 10, then that means you're ready to go off the deep end. But when you get to 5, how do you diffuse? How do you express your anger in a healthy way? And I think what my assembly program does is just open it up. And it's absolutely free to the high schools, and it's just been really, really great. And I'm sponsored by the New Millennium Travel Services out in Arlington, Texas, and it's just been a really great program, and I appreciate them sponsoring me.
On a happier note, you hold another title, not only the Miss America title, but you hold the record for singing the national anthem.
That's right. I'm singing it at the most events within a 24-hour period. And to do this, I traveled 373 miles by limousine, 8 miles by helicopter, 3 miles by boat, and then I had a motorcycle on the side to help me get to the events. And it was a lot of work, but I was able to raise $93,000, and I gave every penny of it to children's charities. So it worked out really, really great, and it was really fun.
Any ball games involved in there?
As a matter of fact, I just sang at the Rangers, the opening of the Rangers game Monday night. It was really a great experience, and that was the kickoff for my Students Against Violence. And we even had a letter from Governor Bush. The New Millennium Travel Services got the letter, and we've been giving them to all the high schools. It's just been really fun.
You know, it did happen here with Wedgwood Baptist Church, obviously.
And that was one of the high schools I did go to. I went to Southwest High School.
Yeah, right down the street.
I know, but it was very emotional.
And, you know, we experience these events, these tragic events in our life, and we sometimes feel helpless. But you teach just the opposite.
Well, I don't know.
That we don't have to sit helplessly by. There is something that we can do as students.
The program is basically a proactive and trying to get, instead of just sitting there saying, could it happen in my high school, let's talk about it, and let's see, the students come up with a pledge. I pledge I will eliminate taunting from my own behavior. I pledge I will be a kind and considerate individual. You know, it can make a difference.
Not that we shouldn't remember, but let me ask you a last question here. 5 years ago today, it was Oklahoma City. And then there was Waco 7 years ago, and Littleton a year ago tomorrow. How do we move on without falling into a case of being perpetual victims?
Boy, all I know is that I know what it feels like. And in the beginning, when I started doing my assembly programs, I cried and cried and cried basically through the first 15 of them. And then as I started talking more about it and being proactive about it and doing something about it and seeing ways that we could prevent it, it just gets easier and easier and easier. And many times when I do these summer programs, I still cry, but at least I get through it. And I just hope that I'm able to make a difference. If I could just save even one high school or help one student or change somebody's life, then it's all worth it.
Fighting back.
Right. Susan Jeske, so nice to have you here. Just a refreshing woman.
Nice to have royalty in studio.
Now, Susan is taking her Students Against Violence campaign to high schools across the country. And tomorrow, she'll speak with teens at the Colony High School, so you might want to join her there.